Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Lost Legion. I'm your host, JR. Today we got Daniel and Jose, and a special guest, Edward. What's going on, Edward?
Going good. I'm waving my hand behind the non-existent camera right now.
So today we got two games to talk about. We got Bounty Hunter games I played, two of them, mine and Edward's. And then we got some news about Shatterpoint. We got a list to talk about and a unit to talk about, and some questions about AMG rules. You boys got anything else for us?
No.
No, I think that's it.
How you boys doing? You guys doing good?
Yeah,
It's
making it through the
raining.
week.
Yeah, it is raining. I like it when it rains because then everyone's stuck inside like me. I'm like suckers.
Hmm.
Uh,
Do you see like the evacuation warning? Did you guys get
no.
that from the sheriff's office?
That's up in the mountains, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I got called at work, and we're not in the evacuation zone, but it was just like the general warning.
It was a courtesy.
Where
Yeah.
where are they evacuating at?
They're not evacuating anywhere yet. It's just a warning. So in case, because they're worried about like the lakes overflowing and stuff, because the ice is supposed to melt.
Yeah.
Apparently, there could be flooding.
I got you.
It's nice that we get fires and flooding.
It's one
Hey,
extreme or
hey.
the other. It's never in the middle. We're
Honestly,
either dry as hell or we're drowning.
honestly, I'm not even gonna complain. We got a cake here in Washington. You would have flooding, fire, and snow.
That's true. That's true.
Snow is the worst. All right, boys. All right, so AMG dropped another Shatterpoint article. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to read it. Edward, are you gonna get into Shatterpoint?
I don't think so. It's not really a game that appeals to me
You ever
at the
play
moment.
Marvel Crisis Protocol?
No, but your cousin nearly lured me in.
Hey, he is good at doing that. That's how I got playing this game.
Yeah, no, during the
salesman.
sale, he was like, "Hey, look at this. Like affiliates 40% off." And it's like, "Oh no." And then I also had other game systems that I wanted to try out, so I was hesitant to jump on. But I'm probably gonna try the game out at some point because it is something that does appeal to me mainly because of the heroes.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
When they
heroes.
drop Krennic and DTs, he's in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know they're
Well, the
going
good thing
to.
is,
Yeah.
the good thing is, there's plenty of us that are getting starters, so you'll easily be able to play it, dude.
Test it out, give it a test run.
Mhm.
So they dropped information on the stat cards and they revealed Anakin's stat cards.
Yeah.
Let's start this off by Pravik did a video with forgot the developer's name. That's bad on my part. But they were talking about it. So a lot of information came from that as well as this article. What's interesting is that they have the red icon with 11 next to it is known as stamina. And then the thing below it is like your health with 3, it's known as your durability. And so to my understanding is you take damage, well, you take hits from your stamina, and once that gets depleted, you get 1 wound. And then it takes 3 wounds to knock you out. So effectively, Anakin has 33 like health.
That would make sense.
It's Will Schick.
Will what?
That's the creator. The guy you're talking about is Will Schick.
Thank you. Props for that. Yeah, so he was saying that like it's very hard to kill primaries in this game, and it's very like surprising if you do, which is kind of interesting to me because it's like, I mean, the first thing you want to do, especially in Legion, is you just want to kill your opponent rather than play the objective, and then slowly you start to develop the objectives like, oh, that's how important it is. And it seems like this game is also heavily based on you want to do objective and not focus on trying to take someone out. If you have the opportunity, sure, but not like that's not the main thing. Positioning and everything is going to be very important in this game. So it looks like Anakin's stats or his abilities are going to be force jump. You spend a force power, and then he makes a jump. Then the next one is called I'm going to end this. You spend 2 force powers, and it says after this unit makes a combat action and may use this ability, one character in this unit may make an attack targeting one of the same enemy characters within range and line of sight. So that's pretty good for Anakin. He gets attacked twice.
Yeah.
Deflects after I'm assuming range attack, targeting a character in this unit, resolve this unit may use this ability. If the attack roll contained 1 or more hits, I'm assuming, results, the attack unit suffers 2 wounds. So
I feel like that's probably 2 wounds. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to know until we finally get the game on hand.
I really like how deflect works here. Like, I mean, obviously we're speculating, but I like just that it's just, oh, you just pay and you do that many wounds.
Mhm.
I hate in Legion when you have to roll for the surges. You almost never get them, and it just feels
Yeah,
bad. So I
it
like
does.
that with this one. It's like, oh yeah, you want to shoot a Jedi, you're gonna get hurt. Like, that feels fun to me.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. And honestly, it's a free to do as well. And from what they were saying is that for every wound you have, your abilities get increased by 1. So deflect will be increased by 1, which is 1. And then I'm going to end this is now 3. And then force show up is now 2, assuming he has 1 wound. Then it's
I like that. That's a cool mechanic.
do you?
hmm
Yeah.
Makes you think about pressing the heroes.
Yeah, because I hate like the one thing talk about like squads versus heroes, and you have that as squads get damaged, they get weaker, and heroes get damaged, and they're 100% until the end and then all of a sudden they're gone. So I like this kind of middle ground of like, oh yeah, Anakin's around, but you shot him so much that he can't really do anything. Like he's just a normal dude.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. I think
Yeah, that
that's
makes a good
that's
point. Get him
yeah.
weaker now.
Right. Yeah, he should feel bad after I shot him like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. His last
You should be
ability is that
sad.
this is where the fun begins. When a character in this unit wounds an enemy primary unit or an enemy secondary unit, after the effect is resolved, move the struggle token 1 space towards your momentum token. Then, if the wound unit is a primary unit, each allied Gallic Republic character may recover a health
I
or
have no
stamina.
idea what that
What?
symbol is.
It's the same symbol as the health one, right? The stamina one?
Yeah, so it's probably heal
Yeah, I think so too.
or but it could be like take a health action. Like I don't know. I think we'd have to wait to see.
Honestly, because from our article they reviewed last week, there is a heal action you could do. I'm hoping that's only for stamina and not durability, because how bad would it feel if you did 11 damage?
I have to assume that's the whole reason they break up stamina and durability is because once you hit 11 wounds, you can't heal below 11. Once you get 22, now you can't heal below 22. Once you get 33, you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to see, because if you hit a durability, like don't even bother shooting at those guys.
Mhm.
So each of the abilities have an icon, and they go through each icon what that means. So Force Jump is an active ability, and it can be used at any time during the unit's activation. If the text begins with action, the unit may spend an action to use the ability. Active abilities always have a force cost, which is interesting, because that mean like non-force users have a force cost? Because like the way they're explaining in Crabbox video is that the force is like around
Everywhere.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just to the force users.
Yeah, so
Which,
probably their force abilities are just more, like crack shot or something. It's like, oh yeah, the force is assisting your aim.
well, I'm assuming like Anakin, I'm going to end this is like unique to him, because he could, he's really good at combat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm not gonna be too upset of it, because that means Grievous got some force powers finally. Hey.
I don't think that is what you think it is.
They're gonna be like droid troopers don't count, and in this game he's a droid trooper, so no force for him.
Oh man.
We obviously meant living, and he's not
Weakness
living in
pistol.
this
Hey,
game.
jokes on you guys. They're gonna give him block, and he's gonna surge to defend in the melee. There's seems like an infinite circle of arrows, and that's known as the reactive abilities. Can only be used in response to specific trigger events. Reactive abilities state when they can be used in their rule text, and always have a force cost. Each player may only use one active ability in response to a single trigger event. Pretty self-explanatory.
I think it's funny that they say it always has a force cost, because then up there you see deflect, it doesn't have any force icons next to it. So I guess it just has a cost of 0.
Yeah, it is a cost of 0. That was confirmed on Crabbox video. Because I was a little confused by that too. I was like, wait, it says always, and there is no cost there.
It's right there with no cost. Yeah.
What are you
So then it's
talking
just
about?
once you get wounded, it costs some.
Yeah, I think they have that for once you get that durability, 1 wound, then it now costs 1, blah 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 blah. Which is fine. And what I also like about the game is you only have a limited use of force abilities, or force icons, and once you spend them, you spend them. But what was said was that if you reshuffle your deck, you get all your force icons back, however many you had to the start of.
Nice.
Innate abilities, it's a line and then a circle around that line. Innate abilities are always in effect and never have a force cost. In addition to normal innate abilities, some units have special innate abilities known as tactic and identity in innate abilities.
This is basically passives.
Yeah. Tactics are pretty much a cross with the circle around it. Abilities are special innate abilities that allow units to work together. The effective tactic ability resolve at the start of a unit's activation. So we got some synergies here with some abilities. And identity is like best way to describe it is a hit on Legion with a line through it in a circle. Identity abilities are special innate abilities unique to primary units. Each identity ability explains how it is triggered and used. Note that while identities are often resolved in response to a trigger event, they are not innate abilities and do not preclude a player from using a single reactive ability in response to the same event. So that's Anakin. This is where the fun began.
Yeah, because he's a primary. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
What do you think, Jose?
I gotta wait to see the game. I still haven't watched any of the gameplay. I haven't even looked at the interview from Kravitz. Just things have been so freaking life happening. I haven't really had any extra time to do anything. So I'm pretty sure once I get these things out of the way, I'll know more about it. But I mean, right now I'm just hearing how the game's functioning, and it's not like I said, it sounds fun. I like that. I like that things don't die so easy, or at least it seems they don't die so easy. Because you got like in Legion, like you have like those units that are awesome. They're like your favorite unit. Like me, I love Pathfinders. They get nuked really hard, and then you're like, well, it was nice to at least deploy them. So this sounds like you at least have some more game time with like your units that like you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the 33 health because it's gonna take forever to chew through that. Also, it gives you like that because in Legion, the big change from like a strong unit to a weak unit is how many symbols you get on your defense die. But that means if you blank one roll, then you're dead. Whereas like if you blank a roll here, it looks like most of it's going to be like in health stats. It's like you can blank like 3 rolls, and you'll be hurting. Your force powers will cost more, but it's not like, oh, I'm done. Like what you were saying, Jose.
I swear to God, if they use regular Legion defense dice, Roman better throw his away.
I honestly feel like this game is more of not about killing units. Like he has said that. I feel like it's a struggle. Like you guys are fighting and struggling, and then that manipulates the battlefield on the objectives, which kind of sucks in my opinion. Like I was kind of like bummed by that because I want to kill stuff, but I get it.
I mean,
like,
you probably can, and it probably gives you a nice boost.
Yeah, at what cost though? At what cost is going to be the problem?
I'm sure there's going to be heroes that are like when you kill somebody, you get like
Yeah.
4 struggle points or something.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. They did reveal Bo-Katan's like ability or
tactics.
tactic. Thank you. Pride of
Yo,
Mandalore.
not spoiling anything, but after the last episode of Mando, I'm definitely gonna pre-order Bo-Katan's box now. I'm motivated.
Doesn't she come in the core box?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
does she?
yeah. She
Yeah,
comes with
she's Ahsoka's group.
She's a secondary unit.
Wait, so the core box I thought only came with Anakin clones and
It's 2 squads of each. So it's Anakin, clones, and
okay.
Rex, and then also Ahsoka and her Mandalorians, and then it's Maul and his Mandalorians.
And
is it Grievous?
No,
So it's Ventress.
Yeah. With the
Okay, so there's a lot of minis in the box then. Okay.
Well, but that's how many it takes to play the game. That's technically enough for each army.
Yeah. It's because you build a squad of 2 units, and then the one has a primary, one has a secondary, and then supporting, and you have 2 of those on your team. So you can
basically make 2 squads.
Yeah, you mix and you can mix and match. Like I could have Anakin with his 501st, and then
Maul and his groups.
Yeah.
So this is like what, like a sub 10 model game, it sounds like?
Probably about 10.
I would say 8.
At least 6. Probably 8.
6
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because so Bo-Katan, her tactic ability is at the start of the unit's activation, choose another ally Mandalorian character. That chosen character may do the jump action. So let's say you're playing with Ahsoka and Maul has Mandalorians on his team too, and it just says Mandalorians. So like You could probably
You could do
use,
those Mandalorians.
yeah. So that's some synergy you could do
Unless
as
they're
well.
called Maldalorians. And that's
Which
what
would
they
be
should
sick.
be.
That would be sick. So they revealed that of Bo-Katan. Now, the most convoluted part that got me nervous and scared is what's known as the skill tree combat cards. So these combat cards,
Okay.
yeah, that we're looking at, these are the stance cards. In the box, everyone has at least one. And so this is their attack tree. So I guess from what they're saying is you roll the dice, and depending on what the dice roll, you can go up a skill and you can choose a path to do whatever those icons revealed. All primary units have a second side to their combat or through the stance card, so you can switch stances in between games. And like what he was talking about, Anakin was that like Anakin's more or less like one is his defense one, and then the other one is his like aggressive one. But yeah, this part is just like I don't even know what's going on right now. But
Yeah, we'll have to wait till we see the article on this.
It
'Cause,
sounds
yeah, it
like you're
looks
gonna
super
have
confusing, but I'm sure it's pretty simple.
It
yeah.
sounds what it sounds like is it sounds like a skill tree, like Borderlands, like MMO type deals. But the cool thing is, like, if you're rolling dice to determine where you're going, that's kind of cool because you'll get a different loadout like every time you play.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't think you like I could be wrong. I'm assuming that every time you roll the dice, you then could like go like if I'm
Fill
looking
out
at
as much as you can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Since it's a dice activated thing, you'd have multiple different like experiences every time you play.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Which is interesting is Ahsoka is hers. The one that they're showing is the one that they just came out with is Jarkai, and then
Drakai.
Jarkai. Ventress is Form 2 Makashi. Anakin is Form 5 Sheen. And then Maul's just card Dark Rage. I have no idea what that means. But
Just
then
anger.
yeah, just straight up. And then I'm assuming you can flip it to get the other ones. So that's all the
Hopefully, get them
information.
killed. That'd be awesome and thematic.
No, apparently it's supposed to be super hard to kill him. If he gets killed easy, I'm calling foul on them right now.
Hey, he dies so many times. I feel like he should be easy to kill. And then there should just be like a
He should have
random
white
effect. Of like,
defense
if he's
dice.
dead, there's a 50-50 chance he comes back every round.
He's kind of the nearest force user.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's all the information they released on Shatterpoint. We'll see if they release another article next week. Edward, did we sell you on the idea?
No.
Hey,
Noah, get in here. Get it done.
No, I mean, I'll try it out, but it's not. I don't think it's a game that I'm going to add to my collection.
I get it.
you say that now, but Jose's right. When they release Krennic and the Dark
Yeah.
Troopers, you're all in.
Noah's gonna hit him with the Force Lightning, and Edward's gonna be laying down. I'm too weak as he buys it.
Roman's all
We'll
taking his
see.
wallet. All right, boys. Let's see. The next topic, the Bounty Hunter event. All right, so 2 games. Me and Edward got our games in. So I'll go ahead and go over mine real quick, and then Edward will get to yours.
Points destroyed was stupid. I saw that.
Oh, on mine against Omar.
How did you only lose 55 to his like 6 something?
I'll let you know.
Damn.
I'll let you know right now. So how it was is, let me pull up his list. I know I have it here somewhere. Did I get no friend? So Omar is running Mando Shenanigans, a rebel officer with Vigilance portable scanner, Din Djarin with Hunter, the Mando's jetpack, prepared supplies, and the ambient rifle. Rebel troopers, looks like 2 of them with DLT 20, and then the Rebel veterans with the CM 93. There's 2 veterans, and then 2 Mark II blaster troopers. A Wookiee warrior with the battle shield, Wookiee tenacity, and then the AA5 with reckless driver, refurbished gonk droid, back row medic, and the heavy laser report.
That thing's loaded.
Yeah, he loaded that bad boy out. So we got major offensive, and then it was supply drop, and it was key position. So I put mine pretty much close to my base. He put his pretty much close to his base. And then in the middle, I had the new Legion terrain that came out with the down X-Wing. And that was in the middle. So turn one, I play. I want to say I played. Man, I don't even. Oh, you know what? I got them up. 1 second. I remember I put them in Discord. Oh my gosh! Now it wants to take
What
forever
are you
to load.
looking for?
The Discord. I posted the pictures in there, so I'm just pulling them up right now. So
It's the rain.
I'm trying to remember the game. Okay, yeah. So turn one, I played air support and he played the turning tide. So this was pretty much I shot at Din Djarin and then Trooper Rebel Troopers and a Mark II. Nothing, not a damage, just suppression on all of them. He uses the ambient rifle to pick a wound off my. He bounties my clone commander and he gets a wound with the ambient rifle on it. He moves the AA5 up. I pretty much position all my clones next to my key position. And then I pull my barks pretty early. So the bus came up, but I went and shot some rebel troopers that are coming. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is about these bark speeders, but they do not need aim. I got hits on all four every time. It was
Oh
gross.
man.
It was gross. So I pretty much almost wiped the squad of rebel troopers, and he puts a wound on rebel troopers. I mean, on a bark speeder. He is shooting at my clone boys, but Obi-Wan, force barrier, dodges, and everything. They're moving up, they're shooting, and then that was pretty much turn one. Turn two, this turn really annoyed me. So he moved the bus halfway in, and so he's one move away from getting the Wookiees out. He plays sabotage communications, and I play General Kenobi. So I can only put one order out, and that's only the General Kenobi. And I was hoping to have my whole field and just the barks in the bag, but nope. I was gonna fire support like crazy. So he screwed me on that round. So General Kenobi got like 5 surges. I get to direct still, so 5 gets his, and then another squad gets his. Previous
So
turn,
good.
when he wounded my clone commander, I decided to use the medic to heal him. So this time around, he does the same thing. He used Din Djarin to use the ambient rifle, takes another wound off of the medic of my clone commander. I decide, oh my god, I don't want to lose this bounty. So I used my second medic to heal
Tough
him.
luck, Obi.
Yeah. I was like, Obi, I'm sorry, man. You gotta go. It's funny because then my clones use one of the boxes and I get back to supply. So I was just like, okay, good. That's another backup for my clone commander. We're shooting at each other. He moves a little close to some troopers. I wipe him with the fire support, and then bark speeders wipe the rest of the troopers that I had almost killed last turn. And
Snowball.
so, yeah, then he goes with the bus. Now he has reckless driving on it, so he has to do a compulsory move. So he did a compulsory move, and and then he was gonna go into my clone, so he moved again, and he hit them all, and I think he killed like one guy out of with the reckless. And so since the bus is sitting right there in front of my face, I was like, oh man, the Wookiees want to come out and have some fun. This is a bad idea. So I just start shooting at the bus. I managed to get a couple through. So I shoot. I get about 2 wounds after the shields were depleted. I get 2 wounds, and then no, I get 3 wounds through. So he goes, everyone's gone at this point. The only ones that are left are Obi-Wan and the Wookiees. He goes with the Wookiees and he wants to disembark and charge me. But this is where
You can't.
I got him. Like I gotcha moment is he can't. He moved twice and I let him know. And he didn't know that the compulsory move counts as one of those movement turns.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I told him, I was like, yeah, unfortunately it does count. Like I wish it didn't, but it does. So he decided to keep the Wookiees in the bus, so that way Obi-Wan doesn't kill him. Unfortunately, bus is
That's
right
not
there.
safe anymore.
Yeah, bus is right there. So Obi-Wan goes in, takes an aim, goes in. He gets I get a natural crit, 2 hits, and then a surge. So he has critical 2 on his lightsaber. So that's 4, and he's at 7 health. He rolls a die, and then next turn, I'm just like, I need to kill this bus. I play hello there, and he play covering fire. I go with
You
Obi-Wan.
gotta have one pip in that situation.
I go with Obi-Wan. I kill the bus, and then the Wookiees come out because he didn't also. I don't think he also knew that once you kill the bus, they flip over
You
the
get
token.
spit out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. And so the Wookiees were sitting there, and all my guys just lit them up. Lit them up. So
terrible.
at this point, he's forced to move in closer because the O snap happened, and when he does that, I'm already ahead in Axe, so I fire support into Din. I do 3 wounds to Din. He blanked hard. So he has 2 ones left. I'm killing all the other guys. So then he plays Whistling Birds, and I play Synchronized Offensive on this turn. No, I don't think I did shoot him last turn because this is the turn I did shoot him, and I got 3 wounds, and then he went and he Whistling Bird, and he got a couple off. He killed only 1 guy in 2 squads, and then he did to try to get one on Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan, he didn't get hit on Obi-Wan. And then at that point, my whole army just lit him up. He managed to kill 1 Bark Speeder. But yeah, it was just a matter of the I got you moment, I think really turned the game.
Yeah, because if those Wookiees get out and are able to fight,
Yeah,
that's game changing. And then not being able to, and then so they lose that activation, and then they lost the next activation, and then they're dead before they get to go. That's a devastating turn of events.
I through the table.
I agree. I feel bad because he didn't know, and it's one of those moments where just like, if you're right, Daniel, if he would have get those Wookiees out, he could have got it out. Second turn, just move 1 and then just charge Obi or charge whatever. Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those moments, just like a learning lesson in a game. So that was pretty much my game. I kept my clone commander alive, so I got 2 points. I won the game to 3, so I'm sitting at 5 league points. And we did play at the shop because our schedules were conflicting a little bit. But yeah. How about you, Edward? How'd your game go?
It was good. It was the first one I've gotten in over a year and a half now. So I finally did it.
I did it!
Party! Yeah, no, not before I got my hand beat by you, like over 5+ games.
Hey,
just training in the background.
I'm like just Rocky. Glad I helped. That's all I care about. Like when
he calls it help, we call it abuse.
But yeah, when you wrote,
I beat you because I love you.
So yeah, Edward, how'd it go, man?
It was good. I think it came down to the last round, and it only came down to the last round because of a couple of misplays, and then cheeky little things that I picked up from previous games that really helped push me towards the end. And so my list is very familiar list for you guys because I like playing themed lists, narrative kind of stuff. So I usually have Krennic, Shore Troopers with T-21Bs, Imperial Officer. I've got another Shore Trooper with Gideon, so he's passing out the extra order to the trooper. And then I've got 2 mortars, and then normally I'd have 3 Death Troopers. But since it's the bounty event, I dropped one of them for IG-88. So at least with this list that I've created, I'm guaranteed at least 4 activations roughly on a 1 pip, potentially more because I have seized the initiative. So what I like about it a lot is I ensure that I can get basically maximum order control whenever I need to, which was the most important thing, that lesson that I learned from the previous games. And then from my opponent, he was running a very heavy hitting list. So it was Imperial Officer with Underworld Connections, Binoculars to pass out aims. Then he's got Boba Fett with Hunter, sees the initiative, Flame Projector, Emergency Stim, so they are even more survivable with Red Save and Defensive Surge. Bosk with Hunter and Targeting Scopes. So you can kind of see where the Imperial Officer is just feeding aims to the Bounty Hunters, and then eventually the ATST with the hammer pilot and the twin blasters.
Yeah,
So
pretty gross.
it was certainly an uphill battle that could have been decided by turn 1 had I not killed one of the big 3, mainly the ATST in particular.
Yeah, talk to me about that, because when John told me you killed it turn 1, I was like,
Yeah,
what?
how?
That's so many wounds behind armor.
It's Edward
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah, it was I put lead in my dice before I went into the
That's what he
game,
learned from JR.
and I painted
Loaded
painted
dice.
extra surges onto my dice.
He's up, and when the head putting in the crate in the middle.
No, but so it's very important to note prior to the game, like my game plan was to try to kill as much stuff as I could, Alpha Strike, because that was what I learned from the previous podcasts with Daniel, because he was talking about the game that we played. And the biggest thing that I struggled with was I was using a lot of standbys and I wasn't shooting with the gun line that I had. So my plan was try to pick everything off, because I knew by the only scoring round is turn 6. So essentially 4 and 5, I'm just moving up to the objective, and 6 getting on it. So as deployment's going, he's putting all his stormtroopers in a line, because it's basically a fight for the middle objective. And then his bounty hunters are behind that screen of stormtroopers. And then I was looking at the deployment zone, and there's a little gap near towards the end of major offensive, the little thin part, the range 1 area. I was thinking to myself, okay.
Did you say what you guys were playing? Your objective?
Oh yeah, it was key positions for the objective, major offensive, and then clear conditions. I had canceled out supply drop because I didn't really want that to be a factor in our game.
Yeah.
You monster.
And then I canceled out rolled out because I knew that he would put his ATSD there and get even closer, which is
you don't want it to aim fire right out the gate.
So I picked major defensive mainly because it was even though stuff can get relatively close, I think my range 4 really helped out in getting into position relatively quickly, and I needed to start shooting out of the gate. So going back to deployment, he puts his ATST right in front of my army. And in my notes, I had put down, all right, well, the game plan is I'm going to try to kill Boba and Bosk by turn 2, because Boba has 4 command cards in his hand. So if I can kill Boba, that at least guarantees he's going to be losing 3 command cards. So he's down to Reptilian Rampage and then lying in wait for Bosk.
I love that you went and thought about that. Like, you went and just like, if I take him out Boba, I get rid of 4 of his command cards, bro.
He has a playbook. He has a playbook for every scenario, like an NFL coach.
He
does this.
Tyler
We're gonna swing around the back.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, and then I was also looking, because he's doing double bounty, his aura control is coming from his bounty hunters, and that's the only thing he's getting. So if I can knock that out, he's left with standing orders, and chances are it's going to be his officer. And his aura control is going to be very knocked out of balance, because he really wants his orders on the ATST, his Boba, especially with making the way through the galaxy, and then Simple Man, so he's getting that extra, and roll with respect, especially. And then Boss, so he can get ensure the kills for the bounty. Because his plan was bounty on my Krennic and 88, and then dip behind the screen of 5 stormtroopers.
Who'd you bounty? Who'd you bounty?
I bounty the Imperial officer, because it was where he positioned it was relatively close to 88, but I'd have to chew through the screen of stormtroopers. But he eventually backed off once it started taking wounds, and also used it as bait to pull my bounty hunter onto position, which worked in his favor. We'll get to that. But going back to the ATST, he puts it down there, and the first thing I do is I scratch out the Boba, kill on turn 2, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna have to kill the ATST.
Bold move.
I like it. That's what you got to do with ATSTs. You either kill them immediately or you ignore them. So I love the commitment.
Because prior to the plan, I was like, all right, well, ATST might have to move into position like turn 1 or 2, maybe fire off the range 4 main weapon, and I could probably deal with it up until like turn 4. but since he put it into my face, I had to commit fully to it.
Mhm.
So I played coordinate fire.
Mm.
So I gave all my orders to my shore troopers, which have the target, and because of aggressive tactics, they're getting the surges. So they all have the aims. So what I do is I go down by the gun line, shore trooper, fire support, spend the aim, give it to another shore trooper. And then eventually it started going to another shore trooper, fire support, 2 aims, pass it over to another shore trooper, and then I eventually pass the rest of the aims to my to IG-88, which had like 3 aims by the end of the conga line. And then what I did is I pushed up the death trooper that had the comms relay and DTF-16, and I used their white light blaster because I'm just fishing for crits at that point.
Mhm.
And by the time I got to 88 and the death troopers, I had done around 7 wounds.
Are these all
Um,
natural crits? They have to be, right? Because I know you only have critical
Natural
one on
crits,
the
and then
mortar.
the
Well, he's got
Well, the-
critical,
yeah, the
critical
fire
2 on the
support.
guns, right?
Yeah, you and fire support from the mortars is critical.
Oh
one.
yeah.
Mhm. So, and my list really has lax impact. So I'm just banking on the criticals and natural criticals, critical and natural criticals. So I do 7 wounds. He manages to
Just roll
shoot
crits,
my.
baby.
He manages to shoot my to get an activation off before I do basically kneecap the ATST. He shoots at the mortar, and the mortar manages to only take 1 wound,
Oh,
and he shoots
nice.
at Gideon, and then he doesn't take any wounds. He just takes suppression. So I was rolling pretty good.
That's like, sorry to interrupt you, Edward, but like when people say like heavies are too good, aside from dark troopers, it always amazes me. It's just like, yeah, they're good, but you shoot that big old dice pool and then they block it all. That's nothing.
It
But
feels
see,
bad.
that's the thing though. Like
Yeah.
like he's shooting that big dice pool into red saves. Granted,
Red surging
statistically,
saves because of
yeah,
aggressive tactics.
but it's like
Mhm.
it's like 50 to 66%. If he's shooting that pool into like white saves, that thing's deleting everything. So
But anything can
especially with the
delete
new
white
cover,
saves.
That's true.
but I'm saying like it's the like taking the brunt of the ATS is not as big of a deal when you got back to red saves, and then the cover too, the new cover rules, like you're good.
Mhm.
There's a pillow there, like, but
I
still,
get
like the
that.
fact that you got
I'm just saying, like, I don't like when people complain about heavies because heavies in this game right now are not in a very good spot, and we're excluding dark troopers from this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Because
points increase.
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
by the time Death Trooper shoot, it's down to I believe 9 wounds, 10
Mhm.
wounds. So 88 with 3 aims walks up to range 3 and
Just
shoots both of the
slaps
guns
it.
and manages to kill it on the last activation, which was really important.
Nice.
Yeah. Amazing job, Edward. My God, my model's
You
always
created a monster.
I'm just ignoring it.
He had the
That's all I'm
playbook.
judging.
You created a monster. Thank you.
Hey,
He's like, I'm not losing for a year and a half now.
So what else happened? No.
Yeah, because like the alternative would be like you guys said, ignore it, but the ATSD has the potential to just delete a squad if I roll bad
Yeah.
every turn, and there's 6 turns in the game, so I'm going to be down to 3 activations, and if I'm losing killing power, especially with the Death Troopers, which are 18 points a model,
Yep.
excluding the upgrade. With
you-
the heavy weapon upgrade, they're like 20 points, 20.5 points a model, which is even more expensive than a Dark Trooper per point for health.
Do you feel like you would have
Oh,
still
yeah.
kept shooting at the ATST if there was multiple multiple targets?
I would have to focus the ATSD because it's the armor is what's gonna keep it surviving. So I just had to shoot as much as I can and fish for the crits. Luckily, I had the dice pool to do it and the critical to convert it.
Plus all those
Luckily-
aims.
Mhm,
Yeah.
plus all the aims, and then I also had, even though it wasn't necessarily near the deployment zone, I had another Death Trooper with DLT 19D
Mhm.
on the side, so I was able to do the range 4 weapon and still hit it. So practically 9 activations of just solid shooting went into it,
Nice. Man, that's good.
and I killed it.
stuff.
As for John, he spent the entire turn trying to fish for the heavy for the ATST to try to get shot off. But aside of that, he was just moving everything into position because it was a battle for the middle objective. So by turn 2, ATST's dead.
No big deal.
which is a big relief, because now it's like, all right, now I need to do the same thing for Bosk and Boba because they're the
Poor
bounty.
Bosk. Come here,
Boss does
white
not like the
saves.
Death Trooper matchup.
Yeah, and what also helped me too is I played a lot of ATST back when I first started, and I realized once I got through the armor, white save is not really impressive.
Yeah.
So I just threw everything at it because I recall another game I played with Jose where I just shot at it with the scout troopers, and I managed to kill an ATST with the scout troopers.
Wait, you're missing a very critical point here. When
Yeah.
you murdered my metal chicken, you were also throwing bombs at it.
Yeah, I was throwing the saboteur too, which was real fun. So I had that critical. Oh, goodness.
He's too dangerous to be left alive, fellas.
Yeah. Turn 2, we are just moving up a lot. My death trooper that was shooting at the ATST gets murdered, but I wasn't too sad because it was half as many points as the ATST, and he kind of served his purpose. The only thing that I misplayed was he had emergency transponder, which could have given the aim to reroll 4 dice on the attack pool. But aside from that, we're moving into position and we're just shooting things as we can. Boba comes around, kills the DTs. I move my mortar up, which was a bit of a misplay because I was trying to cover the middle objective, and which is where he was able to shoot at it and eventually kill it. And we're just poking at each other. I believe I played independent programming at that point. And then he was playing, I believe, ruling with respect. So the reason why I played independent programming is because obviously you want the independent stuff for 88, but also I have comms relay on him. So, and I really don't want to activate 88 unless I have to. So I'm just passing the order to Krennic, and then I'm repeating the cycle of Krennic, Death Trooper entourage to Gideon squad. So I'm always getting the 4 to 5 activations that I need.
It's a good combo. I like
And
it.
then should
Plus
I
you
need
get all
to,
those aims. Like it's just
Mhm.
really, it's really
Mhm.
solid.
Yeah.
and then should I need to activate 88 for whatever reason, I have seized the initiative, so I don't necessarily need 88's card to get them through.
Mhm.
Well, you can't pass his order and then seize.
Mhm.
because-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would. So I wouldn't have to. So I wouldn't be passing an order from 88's card.
Yeah.
So I believe I played. Yeah, independent. We just moved. We pop shots at each other. Turn 3, it's getting a little bit cagey because now everyone's in range 3 to 4, and he's got a lot of T-21Bs in his pool, and so we're just essentially just slugging it out. Imperial officer gets wounded, moves back, and eventually it'll loop towards the rear objective. The stormtroopers that were holding that objective are moving towards the middle because he realized, as if I can throw enough bodies on there and he can't kill it with heavy cover, then I'm going to secure this win. And I essentially just, all right, turn 6 scoring, so I'm just going to keep on shooting through the windows, which isn't necessarily a downside for me because I have the aim, so I'm rerolling just for crits anyways. And if I get a suppression, I'm getting heavy cover. And suppression for me doesn't really matter that much because I have the Imperial officer. Gideon's got the increased courage. So I'm already getting the full activations that I need anyways. And I've got strict orders too, in case anything goes up courage 3. So turn 4, I believe I play, whatchamacallit, the other one pip focused on the kill because I'm trying to kill the officer. I don't get the kill, and 88's out of position. So eventually he gets shot up and dies towards the end of that activation. And what's also bad is that now Boba's in range, and he played the making his way in the galaxy, so he's going to do the spin to win gaffy stick. Luckily, by that point, he was around 3 to 4 wounds. So he was essentially down to his last wound. And what he did is, and what I did is I played my eventually Precarious Ambition because I wanted that order on Krennic real bad. He flies over a building with the jetpack because it was because he was just above height 2, lands into Krennic, and he's like, all right, cool. Nothing's gonna happen to me. Krennic slaps him with the black. And manages to secure the kill. So he pops the emergency stems, which allows him to get the gaffy stick attack.
Wait,
And
wait,
then
wait.
luck-
So Krennic
or-
does the final hit to Boba
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
a slap, and then he
He pulled his glove off and slapped him with it. I challenge you to a duel, sir.
Okay, okay.
So it was really cool because Krennic doesn't really do a lot of stuff other than just passing orders.
Yeah.
Just kill bounty hunters. He doesn't get mad. kills the most legendary bounty
Yeah.
hunter we know of.
The gaffy stick does a couple of wounds and is suppressive, but because of aggressive tactics, I get a lot of suppression off. Anyways, Courage 2. Unfortunately, the Imperial officers don't inspire at all, which would have helped me a lot when mitigating some of this kind of stuff. And we're just shooting. Turn 5 comes around, and this is where one of the misplays happens, which was important. John forgot to regenerate, and he had 2 wounds. So
That happens to me all the time.
when we started setting up for 5, he remembers it, but by that point we had already issued orders, so we couldn't really take it back.
Yeah.
It's unlike the automatic independent generation and the targets, things like that.
The May versus the just happens.
Yeah.
Yep. So what I do, and he had gotten the bounty on 88 the turn prior, and I knew that if I let him get away, he's gonna basically get the win because the bounty is 4 points, and if he can contest the middle objective, then that's over. So I move up my shore troopers in striking range of the middle objective, and then I shoot into Bosk, and I managed to get the kill with full dice load.
Yep.
4 blacks from the normal dudes, and then the heavy weapon, and then the Imperial officer as well, because he was rolling whites, and which is what I was counting on. So I managed to take away the bounty, which puts him in a precarious situation. So he's doubling down on the middle objective, and he's trying to screen as best he can. So what I do is, all right, I have one last card that I can play that might be able to turn this, which I'll get to in a bit. So I'm just loading all the suppression I can, trying to kill much dudes with whatever stuff I had left. By that point, I had at least 2 short troopers, 1 at full strength, Gideon, with 2 other short troopers, another squad that wasn't really doing too hot because he was taking a lot of suppression. And then Death Trooper behind the wall and Krennic. So Krennic, being the very courageous leader that he is, he wraps around the building and he gets into melee with one of the troopers that are on the objective. And he takes because you're supposed to cohere your minis around the melee, what I do is I grab his unit leader, get him off the objective, and put him away from it into coherency with Krennic. And then I move all his other guys away to screen in case he wanted to move back.
Technically, your opponent does the recohering, but I don't think it would have mattered in this situation. But just FYI, the opponent does it. But yeah, go ahead.
So I do that, and then turn 6 comes around, and I play Annihilation Looms.
Wait, what turn? Turn 6?
Turn 6.
Oh,
Dude.
yeah.
So a lot of the guys at this point have 1 to 2 suppression. So, and the officer, which had moved back, so I wouldn't get the bounty, and is contesting the basically his base objective, is out of range to secure panic checks for his stormtroopers. So you take 1 off because of the round ends. They're at 2 because of the card, and he panics everything.
Oh, no.
So they're
score.
not. But he had basically like 4 stormtroopers on the objective, and he got 0 points.
Yeah.
Edward, I
'Cause
think you took my dice power because it sounds like you just hit everything and your opponent just blanked everything.
Oh, dude. That
And-
annihilation looms though.
That's
Because-
That
so
card
fun.
got so much better with the changes to suppression.
Yeah, it did.
So stupid.
I'm so happy you played it on turn 6. Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, because no one really expects Krennic to be on the battlefield in the first place. He's not, because he's not the best commander in the world for Empire. But
Best commander for you.
But best commander for me, because I've been playing him for a while, so I kind of know what to do with him. So I denied him the objective. Krennic was in touching the middle objective already, so I had both my backfield and the middle, and then I just swarmed in anything else that I could, just to secure that nothing's going to happen. And then I secure the win off of that.
So clutch. That's amazing, Edward.
Because otherwise, I don't think I could have killed everything off the center to force a draw.
Yeah, yeah. I like that panic rule is like amazing and not amazing at the same time, depending on what army you're playing.
I like
Depending
it.
if it's
I think
happening
it's
to
good
you or not.
changes.
Yeah, pretty much.
The
Mhm.
suppression didn't used to matter, and I like that it does now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
And normally it sucks, especially for me, because most of my things would be courage 1, because I used to run stormtroopers. But since I've got the short troopers and then I've got the imperial officer, Gideon's getting the extra courage, I'm able to shake it off with aggressive tactics
Yep.
or inspire if I really needed to get within range.
yeah, it's really solid.
Mhm. And then even if I were suppressed, I still have compel from Krennic
Yeah.
and DTF, so I could
So-
still move, shoot, or move.
So I have a question, Ed.
Mhm.
I know you added IG for just the bounty of it,
Yeah.
but to be honest, it sounds like the trade you made for IG was a trade up. Do you think you're gonna revert back to your old list without IG, or do you think you're gonna keep IG moving forward and make it like a Krennic thing where you just make hit your own?
Maybe I'd 88 is certainly a benefit because points cost much more efficient than Death Troopers. Death
Right.
Troopers are 72 points, even though 88's 100. He still has the Arsenal 2, the Armor 1, Impervious X, and he's definitely. I would say maybe a little bit more survivable in some cases. Death Troopers, even though they have the surge defense, it's just the Pierce just really kills him.
Plus the armor is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, but I like Death Troopers a lot, even
Does
though
it-
they like. It's like
does-
being a masochist. You whip yourself every night and think, I'm gonna play Death Troopers. Yeah. Because I really like them from the movie. You know, they
Yeah.
seemed
They'll
really
be good today, I
intimidating.
promise.
Hey,
They'll be good today.
You know what we need? We need Edward's Krennic list against Jose's Rogue One list. Who really won the battle? Let's see.
That
Just
we
make
gotta
it
do
pure
that.
theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love
on,
Rogue One.
on
dude.
a Scarif map. There's got to be a Scarif map.
You'd have to film it and do commentary over it.
Yeah, me and Daniel are just sitting there. Here's Annihilation Looms. It's gonna wreck his world.
Yeah, and
Well,
this,
Jen plays complete the mission. Oh my god!
and then also, if I wasn't playing the bounty, I would have obviously the extra Death Trooper, but I would have replaced 88's 1 pip with the 1 pip for Empire, where you get basically every unit suppression order for their opponent if they give an order.
Yeah.
So I would have played the 1 pip and then the 3 pip to
Mhm.
sustain the suppression throughout
Yeah.
those 2 turns to try to panic.
I
You know-
dig that you've kept the same game style. Like you played the style. You've always played suppression. You played suppression when it didn't matter, and now that it matters a lot, it's right in your wheelhouse, and you're here having an amazing game. I mean, I wish I could have seen it because you're saying you play Krennic even though he's not the best. You play DTs because you love them, and it's your suppression game. All that stuff like is amazing in the new rule set now, and I can see it being like good going forward. as long as you
Mhm.
keep honing it in.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
fire support with Death Troopers, and if they crack the range 4 weapon config, so it's suppressive, range 4, everything. You're rolling what, 4 blacks, and if you've got the heavy weapon, 2 reds and a white, and then you've got the
Three
mortar,
whites.
which is also 3 whites. You've got the critical one, and then impact on the DTs, and it hurts a lot, especially
Yeah.
with the
Thank
surge.
God suppressive doesn't stack.
Mhm.
Here's 4 suppression.
I feel like
Yeah,
it should. That would be a
No,
rules change.
no.
Suppressive X. Give me
Yeah,
suppressive
No.
X.
yeah, I agree
Well,
with that. Let's do it.
well, the one list
No.
I've been playing a lot with, in the background is my Sonic Saboteurs with the Sonic grenades to try
Yeah.
to throw out
Monster.
as much suppression as I can. And I theorize that I can potentially do 4 suppression to 6 suppression based off if I do things right.
You have to do that list with the new Imperial Remnant Battle Force. So they can all have it.
Yeah.
6 sets.
And you're like, you just hide your whole army, and then on turn 6, you're like, none of your guys score. That's game.
I have a saddle my DT because I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, the only other change I may do is because of all the upgrades I'm throwing to my show troopers, I realistically could drop one of them for another Death Trooper squad because they're coming around the same points. Although it would hurt more, I lose Death Troopers, but when are you going to see 4 Death Troopers on the table?
Yeah.
You should make it a thing.
Yeah.
4 Death Troopers,
4
two
Death Troopers.
2 Dark Troopers.
Mhm.
Make it happen, Ed.
No, that's
I don't think that fits in a list. Like, those all have to be naked.
Yeah.
Mhm. Naked Death Troopers are really bad points wise, especially
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
with the Dark Troopers.
3 Dark Troopers, is a thing, and it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, I was doing the math. Dark Troopers per point. Let me try to pull up the chat that I was doing.
Jesus, he's
It was
doing
about
math.
It's 16 points per health. Roughly 16 points per pip of health. Plus they have
That's
the armor,
solid.
which is solid. Death Troopers are 18 points without
Oh my
upgrades
God.
naked. If you do upgrades on the Dark Trooper with all the heavies, it's 17.5. So it's still under Death Troopers points per points. Plus you got the extra weapons. If
Yeah, you do
throw
surge to defend as a Death Trooper, though, and you have
Mhm.
the there's something else. Oh, your offensive output is doubled.
Yep.
So you're getting something for that. Is it
Yeah.
the same? No,
Not really.
but
mean,
it's not. I understand why it exists.
Yeah, like the benefit for Dark Troopers or not Death Troopers is that you're really paying for the keywords. Back
Yeah.
then, it mattered a lot. So you had Discipline 1, so when you got an order, you're removing suppression, and then also you had Precise 2, so you're rolling 4 dice, and then you also have Ready 1. So when you did a standby, you get an aim. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll give them Overwatch, and then I'll move standby. So I'm generating the aim and I'm zoning things out. And it's really effective against people that only run range 3 weapons. So like
Yeah.
your Z6s, your T21s. So you
It'd
have to
be-
move into there. And then I can also fire support. So
It's
it
gonna be
becomes really a
interesting.
killing field.
It's gonna be interesting that if we go against each other because that's all my list. My list for this tournament is just range 3. So it's
Yeah.
just like I have to walk into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, his list, I think,
You-
is actually he could zone you pretty well.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
that's exactly
you
what you
lucked
want.
out.
You want to catch someone in that 3 to 4 range,
Mhm.
and then do your
You stand by
You've you got a good right now because not only that, clones are very, very, very sensitive to Pierce. And I don't think there's hardly any long range Pierce in this event right now, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
Long range Pierce.
Bosk.
I want to talk about that in a
Bosk.
minute. Are we ready to jump to our strategy segment? Because
no.
I feel like we're
Yep.
dipping into it all.
Yeah. Let's
All right, let's
you're
go,
right
let's
because
go.
Edward's jumping the
Yeah.
gun on us.
I've already said like half of my points.
Edward does the best bat raps ever. He should do commentary on live games. Just
All
saying.
right. So our strategy discussion is we're going to talk about a unit, and then we're going to take that unit, and JR is going to show us an awesome list that features that unit. The unit that we're talking about this week is Death Troopers. So Edward is our resident
Coincidence?
expert on Death Troopers. It actually is.
It really is. It really is.
But yeah, so do we want to go over the Death Trooper unit card?
Yeah, let's
I
do
feel like
that.
we've talked about everything that's on it at this point, but
Yeah, Death Troopers 72 points. They have Surge to hit, Surge defense. They have Precise 2. So anytime you give them a name, they're rolling 4 dice, which is really nice. So that's basically your entire squad. Then you have disciplined one, so you're getting that order. You're getting suppression off if you give them an order, which is really good. And if you have entourage with Krennic, you're already getting one Death Trooper in
Mhm.
order automatically.
He read that
And-
off his head. Just
You know,
And
you
then
even
you-
have it
and
pulled
then-
up.
And then you have ready one, which is if you get a standby, you get an aim. So in a sense, they kind of have steady where you can move your speed to do the standby aim
But that's
and
to be honest,
potentially
though,
shoot.
that's a little
Mhm.
bit more risky. It's a risky
Yeah.
depending on what.
Yeah, it's
they're-
bait.
Yeah.
It's very
bait.
situational,
Yeah.
which is
When you pull it off, though,
Mhm.
it's good
Yeah.
because a
Mhm.
free aim when you're re-rolling 4 dice is a
Mhm.
big deal.
Yeah. So the only time I would recommend doing standby is if you need to zone off a section,
Mhm.
assuming you have like thing like with fire support,
Mhm.
because that's going to delete a unit potentially if they're out of position, which they'll have to trigger it at some point, unless they have range 5 snipers. But
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
really the only scenario you should be doing it.
Or
Other than
range
that,
4.
mhm. Because I used to run a lot of standbys on Death Troopers because they had the aim. Because I was thinking to myself, all right, well, I need to get the use out of these keywords. Because if
Yeah.
I'm not,
It's good action economy too.
Mhm. But it's not. It shouldn't be a reliance. It should be here's a tool for a potential situation that it may come in handy. Otherwise, not.
Yep. A couple other things I want to go over on their card. They do have 3 different weapons, which is always exciting. So they have their range 1 to 3 black, range 1 to 2. They should throw 2 whites, and their melee is red, which is
Mhm.
nice.
The red
Yeah.
melee always catches people off guard. So
Mhm.
a while ago, I was playing Jose. He ran
Yeah,
Anakin
coach.
up, right? And then because I had DTF next, or I think it was one of the Death Trooper squads around the corner, and what I did is it's kind of a bit of a Hail Mary because you're going to be losing a lot of points at that point.
Mhm.
So I run in, and then I'm throwing 6 reds
I mean, that's
into
pretty good.
into melee, which is really nice. And then you also have the surge to hit.
Yeah.
So it could it's better than Moff Gideon's Darksaber in a sense with
Yeah.
more punch, but you're paying an ultimate price because you know it's gonna die relatively soon.
Right.
Depending on what you're
Yeah,
punching.
he punched Anakin with that had like 3 dodges, so he took a wound back, and I think I blocked 3 and only ate 1.
Yeah, it's a risky move, but it's not like the worst move, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think a
These
wound on
are
Anakin
good,
is still
man.
technically more expensive than a Death Trooper.
That's true. That's true.
My poor Anakin.
It's it's good to note that they surge both ways, so they surge on defense and attack,
Up and down.
and then they have
Yeah,
courage.
that's really
courage too.
solid.
It is really solid. Also, they have their weapon config, which is free.
Mhm.
Like
Such a great change. Such a great
it is.
change.
It's amazing. And I remember me and Ed were playing a TTS game, and I ran Death Troopers as well. And I forgot about the config, so I didn't put it on it. And then he had it. I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's free. Can I take that?" He's like, "Yeah." Boop, put it on my list.
Yep.
Yeah, because before it was like 8 points. So
Yeah.
you're paying 84 points just to have the upgrade that made them marginally better,
Yep.
which really hurt them a lot.
Yeah, the weapon.
I don't know. That config is good. It's not.
But now with the
suppressive
free-
range 4.
That's
That's
But
not
now
margin. That's better.
Mhm.
Surging up. That's relatively better.
I mean,
But yeah, but this was also the era of strike team spam, range 5, everything, and before that you had the infinite range snipers, so you
Yeah.
couldn't and that would be a high priority target
Yeah.
for any army that you're
I
going
think
up
they
against.
still are a high priority target, at
They
least for
still
me,
are.
anyways.
I mean,
So let's talk strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the strengths are for Death Troopers?
I think they got a lot of strength. They surge the defense, they surge the hit, the range 4 suppressive gun, and then the potential to reconfigure it to get blast, shooting reds into. Now, I think when you turn it to blast, you only shoot 1 red, and then you shoot the rest of them shoot the white. You have a
The
higher,
2 whites?
yeah, the 2 whites, because it's blast. You have a higher potential of was it hit ceiling, high ceiling?
I think it depends on if you have an aim or not. If you have an aim, I say roll the whites, because then you could theoretically pull more through. If you roll the reds, you'll probably just get all the reds.
Sure. And they're great at zoning.
So for me, I played a lot of Death Troopers at LVO. I've played a lot of Death Troopers like coming into the game. Like when I first got into the game, like I was just demolished by Death Troopers. They have a very strong unit profile. Everything is I think they it's priced well where they're at right now. But the thing is their one key downside kind of just screws all that up because we're getting into I'll go into the weakness. It's Pierce. When this unit starts losing models, like it becomes a bad thing. And in all my games at LVO, like I deleted every Death Trooper I seen. When I played Edward, I specifically ignored everything. I ate fire supports just to get to his Death Troopers. And once I got those Death Troopers down to like 1, 2 models, I was like, okay, I can ignore you now and walk away and go do other things. So their upside is big, but I think their one downfall to the Pierce is even worse. Like overshadows
But
that.
my thing about the weakness is I agree that Pierce is their weakness is its weakness for all special forces. Like
I'd
it's
say, well,
It
not
hurts them more.
it hurts
them way
everybody, but it
more.
hurts them more than other special forces because they are like you're paying for that surge to defense. You're paying for the fact that it's hard to kill these guys, really hard to kill these guys. And so then when someone's like, "Well, I pierced him," it's like, "Well, that didn't
Yeah,
seem
see,
hard."
Pathfinders have the same struggle, but if you get a pierce shot through, Pathfinders can still roll that slot machine
Yeah.
and take that pierce off. Like Death Troopers, you unless you have a IRG with protector, like you're gonna eat that every round.
Yeah. So I feel like Death Troopers are very much like Cad Bane. It's positioning, win or loses here. It's very, I would say it's a higher skill ceiling than most special forces because you need to make them stretch out for the 6 turns potentially if you can. Because as soon as they lose a
Yeah.
model, that's 20 points potentially if you have an upgrade. And that's what, a fifth of their firepower.
So let's look at the current meta then, because like, what's the really?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I
what's
don't think people are taking strike teams anymore, except for Jose. No one except for Jose is taking strike teams anymore because
and I
strike teams
took
are so easy to
everybody.
kill. I
Yeah.
think
No,
clone strike teams are the only viable ones because they can move and shoot. Everyone else has to aim and shoot if they want to hit.
Okay.
And so if you have like Imperial strike teams, then the Death Troopers, maybe they'll get shot once and they step up and wipe your strike team.
Yeah, that was something.
Edward hates my clone strikes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the list that you had also had Force Barrier, and you had the Guardian with Obi-Wan, so I couldn't.
4
really-
medics.
Yeah, 4 medics. But the times that they can, but because they had the range 4, their Alpha Strike is really good. So you can. So what on one of the games that I was playing with JR and Tabletop Simulator, I was able to move my guys around, and then eventually move to range 4 and kill his tactical droid in the very back, which messed up the order patrol. So it's very good for
Droids will hate that.
killing characters on a pinch.
Yeah, just like Daniel said, like there's not a lot of people taking strike teams. The only really range Pierce now is what Bosk and Cassian and Iden.
And Boba. I think
and
you'll see a lot from
Yeah,
Boba.
but
It's basically
Cassian and
bounty
Iden
hunters.
is good.
Yeah, Boba could
Cassian
get
and Iden are almost 2 wounds, like for
'cause of
sure with their marksman.
But Boba has to get closer, right? Because it's not
Range 3 or
yeah,
range 2, isn't it?
it's
First
range
Pierce
2
gun.
for the full
yeah,
pull.
it's range 2, range 2. So like I feel like in this meta they're really solid. You shouldn't be too scared of being pierced because
Well, people are terrified of dark troopers, so they're taking heavies. So I think it evens out.
The way I see it is that Death Troopers are like a super core. Like these guys are just like core, but with all the good stats. It's like, do you want your core to shoot range 4?
Pikes
Do you
before
want your
pikes.
core to surge both ways? Get some Death Troopers. And so then you bring these guys in, and yeah, they'll perform amazing. If they get in that gunfight and they're just slugging it out, oh, they're gonna win. They're for sure gonna win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get too close, they switch to blast. You're far away, they shoot a range 4. Like they're gonna blow away core. The problem is, yeah, if they're fighting strike teams or if they're fighting heroes, things get sketchier.
Yeah.
Long range heroes.
Yeah,
'Cause
well, yeah, I guess
it's
I mean
when-
piercing heroes, I guess.
Yeah, well, I say
tactical
long
droids,
range.
that's their favorite heroes.
I say long range because in the game that I played with Edward when I was running Anakin Obi, like, the hardest part was getting in there. Like I ate the fire support, his standby ready phase, I completely the part about it that sucks is I forgot. Like when the standby sits there forever, you forget. You're like, okay, cool. So I wanted to push Anakin up and dive his lines in the front, but then he had set up those standbys, and I was trying to bagfish to get my strike teams out to start peeling them off, and it just wasn't happening. So finally, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna fake him out. I'm gonna go around this building, and Edward just looks, he goes, so you pop my standby, and I'm like, oh my god. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fire support. I'm like, oh my god, 4 wounds
Yep.
just out the gate. And I'm just like, well, that sucks.
Because I give my Death Troopers Overwatch, so they have the range 3 standby.
Yeah, so long range pierces, I think they can handle close range pierce, because if you let close range pierce get in, like you made horrible calculations.
Yeah, and go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, and if the close range pierce has gotten into you, hopefully you've been able to like jump them with your red attack dice, and at least like take your money's worth of like, yeah, you're gonna take 20 points a model from me. I'm taking 30 points a wound from you.
I definitely think you got to take Krennic if you're taking Death Troopers, because that free order onto them. And the way that Edward does it, I like it, is comms relay it to the shore or to Gideon, then Gideon passes it. So it's like 3 off of 1 order that's not even from the card.
Too bad you can't squeeze freaking Veers in there and just load them up with the aims after Krennic
I used to run officers, but the problem I was running into is I wanted to try to get the officer as soon as I can to load up the aims. But by that point, your opponent's moving up shooting. So I dropped officer for like another Death Trooper, basically, to try to get that on. But also, it's important about the extra order is that Krennic's 1 pip, he pulls 3 on top of his card. So if I get the Krennic's order, so I'm getting 4 orders, and I've got another 3 in the bag, I basically have complete order control for that 1 pip plus the cunning, which helped me throughout the entire game that I played for the bounty.
Krennic is very good with them. Yeah.
What
do you guys think about putting medical droids with them so that they can patch up when they take those 1 or 2 wounds? Because I know my brother's list,
points, isn't it?
Yeah, but 18 points for 2 more Death Troopers.
That's true.
That's less than half price.
It really comes down to if the Death Troopers are doing the damage that they need to be doing to make those medics actually worth it.
Well,
I've never seen Death Troopers not do damage, though. If they're up and they're kicking, they're killing things.
I mean, but if you roll like Edward and take out an ATSD like nothing, you know, why not?
Yeah, see those guys. Yeah.
The other thing too with the medic though is that it's the timing, because if you go with your Death Troopers and you didn't need to use the medic, and then like 4 of them get smoked, like that medic is useless because you can't res them the next round.
That's true.
So
but I mean, there's always another target for a medic.
Yeah,
like you won't get as good a value out of it. But I almost think like if you're taking Death Troopers, maybe just find a spot for 1 medic, because even just bringing back 1 or 2, that'll help a lot.
Yeah, that's 40 points.
Yeah, and it would negate the piercing, right? If they did have long piercing, you're just like, oh yeah, you pierced 1, I'll bring it back. Not big deal.
Because probably Sniper will only be able to pierce 1 before you wipe it, with the exception of maybe clones if they're being real careful or cagey. And so then you've retaliated, wiped that squad, and then you bring back your boy, and that's a good trade.
Yeah. I gotta put a list together. So in honor of Edward winning his game with Death Troopers.
Hey, there you go.
This one I don't know. I don't know how competitive it's gonna be. Definitely a fun list, because this one is heavily dependent on suppressing your opponent and doing it around the time of scoring. So what I put is Krennic with nothing, Vader versus speed, force push, situation awareness, and into the fray.
Of course.
You don't have to have situation awareness. I'll just fill it in at this point. 3 short troopers with the extra short trooper guy. You don't need those either. 3 mortars, and then 3 Death Troopers with the E11D config. So the idea is to be sitting at range 4 and suppressing things with the mortar and the Death Troopers. That's all their job is. And then Vader, if he can get in, he masters of evil, and then on turn 5 or 6, annihilation looms.
I like how you say if he gets in, like Vader isn't gonna get in where he wants to get in.
You never know.
It's Vader. If he wants to be in, he'll be in.
This is important to know. It is Op Vader. It's not Commander Vader, but yeah, he will get in. So what I took for the command card is Implacable, Ferocious Ambition, Deploy the Garrison, which is really good with Vader, Fear and Deadman, Master of Evil, and Annihilation Looms. You're going to want to do for your battle deck Intercept Transmission, Key Position, Recover the Supplies, and Breakthrough. You really want Key Position to Breakthrough. Those are the ones you really want to go for.
No hostage.
No, because
I guess you
feel
didn't take what's it called? His big force move card.
Oh yeah, Vader's Might.
Mhm.
I
Nah.
love that card.
And then Advanced Position, Long March, Major Offensive Rollout, Hostile Environment, keep the suppression on there. Minefield, add suppression, and then the best one that you really want, is War Weary. Fortified positions. You know, everyone loves heavy cover.
Do you want Warrior with Op Vader though? Like, if you had Commander, I could see it, but that
Yeah,
Warrior is
but I mean, like,
gonna play for you too.
Well, the whole point is to be shooting at range 4, right? So if they are range 4, you're just range 4 and back and forth, which is more manageable because Mortar is Courage 2, Death Troopers are Courage 2, Shore Troopers, sure, could probably struggle a little bit, but I think they're going to be more focused on Vader trying to get in. So like my strategy with this list is you play that range 4 game, suppressing everything. You hold on to Vader and get him in whenever you see the opportunity. You kind of want to just wait. And then so how in my head, I play Implacable turn 4. And then this is where I pop Burst of Speed to get in. Turn 5, I play Master of Evil. And then turn 6, I play Annihilation Looms. If everything's not panicking at turn 6, then I did something wrong and pretty much just win the game. But that's all dependent on what you lose during those range 4 firing. So yeah. So
what do you think about trying to put C's onto Darth so that you can take advantage of Voracious Ambition?
Yeah, because how much is C's?
What? 5
5?
points.
It's
So you'd
five.
lose probably situational, and then maybe probably
Short
change
trooper.
out Burst of Speed for something else. Maybe
Yeah, that's
choke.
true. Choke would be
He's
that'll-
speed too. He doesn't really need burst.
But that'll
Right.
kind of depend on timing because because Krennic's 1 pip is once you play, you need to pull 3 cards out of the bag. So Siege Seize the Initiative might come after. So
Well, you decide,
depending on-
right?
you would decide.
Yeah. So
So potentially Seize the Initiative might not matter on a 1 pip, Krennic's 1 pip, because chances are you might get it because you're going to be
pull
giving
Vader.
you might pull
Yeah.
Vader.
I just like the idea that you could probably turn 1, if you're 11 acts, you probably have last, right? Because we're only seeing 9 to 10 act
Is that list 11?
it's
Did
It's
11
11.
X. It's
So then at
11.
11
Oh, you're
acts,
just
you could go
I'm
last
bad.
with Vader, just straight run, because you know you have Voracious Ambition, so you know you can go first with Vader next. And then you can move up, force pull him in, standby, and then you're just waiting.
Not to mention that you do that, and then you deploy the garrison, and now Vader's got a standby. Like, yeah, it's crazy gross, and just
And
adding
it's still
the
on theme
suppression.
with Vader. It's still on theme with Rogue One because Vader was there.
Yeah, run this against Jose. This is the one.
No,
No.
I'm about to swap out my Pathfinders for strike teams. I will not let this happen.
No, you should play him with the what you call it, Veer's Dark Trooper, that 9-act Empire list that you played against me, and just slaughtered my entire list.
Well, that's the thing is that's Dark Troopers for you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, it's crazy because if they go up in points, they're just not going to be taken.
Yeah,
but they can't. They're too strong for what they are right now. But the jacked up part is you can't really touch them because if you increase them in points, nobody's going to take them unless you give it the bus treatment where they just fiddle around with the keyword timing.
I think that's
things
what you
like
do.
that.
I feel like that people are just going to end up taking a lot more impact, and then they won't be that good.
Well,
I think
the guy that
you'll
won
see
the
less shift.
There was a guy, I forgot what event it was, but the dude wasn't having it. Like he said, Death Trooper or Dark Troopers, I ain't having it. He took 6 HH-12s and won the event.
Yeah,
he
that
won
would
the
devastate.
event.
That would devastate a Death Trooper.
So there you go, Ed.
But like,
HH-12s.
If you're taking a bunch of impact just for Dark Trooper list, I think you lose to another list that did take impact. It's one of
Yeah, probably.
it's
But
one of
that's the
those
rock
weird
paper
situations.
scissors that exists in Legion for a million different things.
the meta's gonna for Empire now is DTs or Imperial Dark Troopers. You roll the dice, you flip a coin. Heads, you get Dark Troopers. Tails, you get Blizzard Force. You're screwed either way. At least if you take Impact Tech for Dark Troopers, you're not totally screwed when it comes to the Blizzard Force package because the only drawback you're getting is your HH-12s and Impact are cumbersome. But you're not completely out of the fight in that toss up.
See, jokes
That's
on
what's gonna be at
you.
Worlds.
Jokes
Dark
on you.
Troopers
You haven't
and
seen
Blizzard Force.
my B1 rockets, 6 B1 rockets with no cumbersome.
That would do it.
Yeah.
I'd chew up and spit out some Dark Troopers.
That's probably what you need to do. Just put a bunch of impact. I know that's what you need to do, but it's
And
one of those things.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt the B1s because let's be real. Like you don't. The only upgrade people took on B1s like religiously was the sniper rifle.
And the
Everything
E5C.
else was
I
just,
like the E5C.
but-
The
but it-
E5C
but it
is
was-
solid.
But it was if you wanted to take it. Like the old B1 meta was the sniper. But
Well,
the good thing about B1s is you could take those heavies. You could take 6 heavies of any flavor in B1s and still
yeah.
hit 10x and
Oh,
be
yeah.
cool. Like
yeah.
no, you could.
You could.
I
Don't get me wrong. You could tailor your list to destroy Dark Troopers. My
I say
situation.
he's just jealous because he only gets to take like 2 core in his battle force. So
It's just one of those things where it's just like tailoring your list for a specific list is like the opposite of fun, in my opinion, because it's like you're preparing for
But-
the worst.
okay, but everybody has to splash something to deal with force users, right? Everyone has a plan for force users, or else you're going to lose.
Not anymore.
Dark
Same
They
thing
lost
with
the
Dark
defender
Troopers.
flag. They don't need it no more.
Dark Troopers.
They
Dark
die to
Troopers are the
punches
answer to
now.
force
They
users.
just get punched to death.
No. Dark Troopers are the answer to force users. Let me move up and
No,
stand by.
no,
Okay,
they're
come here,
not.
Obi-Wan.
They're not.
You
they're
wanna
not.
come force push me? I'm gonna punch you in the mouth.
They are situational, like everything else is situational. But in this meta, I don't think force users are as strong as they used to be because of this.
Definitely not. Yeah,
And,
I think
Gar
Dark
ones
Troopers
are.
really responds to them well, and I'm happy
Yeah.
about that. Let's take the force users, put them on the shelf,
No!
play some honest Legion. We're all on the field shooting.
You know what? I'm gonna go to Shatterpoint until this meta's over with, and I'll be back.
Jar's gonna break out Gideon. He gets a little medium right there.
Well, I made an Imperial Revenant. I faced it against Edward, and if the next Battle Force tournament that we do, I might run that one because it
I'm
looks.
telling
a
you
lot
right
of
now,
fun.
Gideon is slept on. Nobody believes me.
I don't know if Gideon slept on, but he's solid. I think what makes me sad is I feel like he's a better Krennic. And I like Krennic.
But
and I feel
nobody's
like
taking him
Gideon's-
with Dark Troopers at
Because
all.
he's not better with
expensive.
Dark Troopers. He's not better with Dark Troopers. You know who's better with Dark Troopers? Veers.
Yeah.
I don't know, being able to launch onto a middle box or land on a hostage with
It's
Gideon's
good, but
card.
that takes one of your activations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I ran what you call it? I did run him a while ago at the shop. And if you're not running Dark Troopers, you essentially use his 2-pip as just a generic push.
You played against me in TTS, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Gideon. Don't get me wrong. Gideon is good with Dark Troopers because you give the entourage. But what the Dark Troopers really suffer is having aim, and Veers makes up that weakness by giving them aim.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only viable thing that Gideon has, he's offering up, is the Relentless. So you're taking a wound on your guys with the face-up order,
It's
which
so
is
weird.
Then
it's
you
a
get the
very
medic.
high-
Bring a medic. There's your
Yeah,
medic solution right
You
there.
can't afford medics with Dark Troopers. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You're taking Dark Troopers. You can't afford anything else.
Yeah.
That's what.
And
just
then
like, just
also
like Jose
the-
was saying, it's that weird era where you can't really nerf Dark Troopers because they're already so expensive, and you make them any
Mhm.
higher, no one's gonna take them. Like I think you have to mess with keywords. I think that's the only way.
I don't know. I feel like once we have them in the meta for a little bit, the meta will adjust and things will be fine. You'll probably just see more armor lists, right? Because like the saber tank would rip apart those guys, and you can put a saber tank in
theory.
a semi-competitive list.
or make Ion a little bit better.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about taking armor.
Ion sit
against-
stack.
Here's the thing about taking armor
has it
against
won?
a Dark Troopers is that everyone else is also taking impact, which is good against your armor now. So
It's true.
It's a finicky, funny meta we're in. That's just like the boogeyman is
It-
Dark Troopers.
It just sucks because when you look at AMG's comments, like we had LVO and Blizzard went ham over there, and they're like, "Sorry guys, we're not changing nothing before Adepticon." And then he made, I forgot where it was, but somebody had posted that one of the creators like made a comment that's like, we're not gonna adjust anything because the things coming out are gonna balance it out. I'm like, okay, so you're balancing power creep with power creep. You're gonna do what happened when Clone Wars came. All the older models like suffered and sucked because GAR and CIS were so good, and
That's
now
what every
you
game does
got
though, because that's how you get people to buy the new releases. Like that's what collectible games are. I've played a lot of collectible games and every single one does that. And I appreciate that Legion doesn't do it as bad as most other games. Like the newest
yeah.
stuff isn't head and shoulders better. It's like a couple inches taller,
And
you
to be
know?
honest, like that's what they kind of been doing. Like when the Shadow Collective came out, pikes are super strong. Like Black Suns are strong. We're getting overshadowed by
I thought they
pikes.
balanced them though. I thought they did a good job. I like where
Yeah.
pikes are now.
And if Dark Troopers become a problem and they don't really want to nerf Dark Troopers, they just reduce everything else, like reduce impact stuff, reduce the ion gun from the spiders that they
Yeah.
nerfed recently, you know?
No, that's not coming back, JR. You stop. You stop. It's in a
You
good
really-
place.
you
You're
know,
They're gonna make it
you're paying
free.
premium.
Make it
yeah,
free.
free
You make
spiders.
if you're gonna make Ion on the spiders free, you make all Ion free.
You know what?
I
honestly
I would be
think
okay with that.
I honestly think the reason why they didn't touch anything on Legion right now is they're so focused on Shatterpoint. Is my honest opinion. They're
Yeah,
waiting for the
because they're
launch
about
of
to do their big Shatterpoint launch. I
Mhm.
understand. They literally have
Mm.
to run a demo at that tournament. So no, they're not going to make a rules book change before
Yeah.
they get there.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, they're
Mhm.
running a lot of games. I feel like they've done pretty well. I was happy with their last change, except for the Blizzard Force stuff. And then they did address it. I'm happy that they addressed it. I appreciate that. That's good communication.
And I'm kind of stoked.
Um,
I'm not stoked. I'm not stoked. I'm really bummed, but I'm kind of like the inner victory of me of like not going to Adepticon because like I really don't want to be a meta chaser and I don't want to bring Dark Troopers and I don't really want to face Dark Troopers because they're just gross. But local tournament, I'll be a meta chaser and bring Dark Troopers. So
ugh.
Everyone appreciates it.
All right, bringing out the double saber 8-act clone ball. Here we go.
All right,
all right.
guys.
You got time for some rule questions? I got 3 for you guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so quick and easy ones. Can Yoda use his guidance action ability to trigger another unit to use their free actions like a medic charge?
No,
Yeah, I don't think so.
no, because it's move. It's a move or
It says they could use a non-attack action, I believe. I will double check.
I'm gonna say no.
What do you think, Edward?
Uh, I always look at it through the lens of Palpatine because I would use Palpatine sometimes.
Mhm.
So I would say no because I would say the unit has to have activated first. So it's like you're tapping the Death Trooper weapon
So
or using any other upgrade they may have.
the guidance says choose another friendly trooper unit at range 1 and 2. That unit may perform a free non-attack action. So just getting that out there. But the ruling is on that is that a unit may only perform free card actions during their perform action step. So you can
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Yeah.
So it's just the base unit card or is it including the additional upgrades?
That
just
include
the,
upgrades,
yeah,
like force
just-
upgrades and stuff.
Okay.
Just the essentially, I just think it's the actions that you could just take normally, aside from the attack one. All right, next question is relative to the bounty league. If you're using 2 bounty hunters and the opponent has 2 eligible bounty targets, can 1 bounty hunter claim both bounties or victory points? I.e., boss takes out Boba and Krennic. Does he get 2 victory points or does he get just 1?
I'm gonna say no.
He's gonna get 1.
What do you think, Edward?
I think rules as written, yes. I kind of wish it was where, all right, Boba's going to assign a very specific bounty to this unit, and then Boss would assign a very specific bounty to that one.
That'd be too
Because
hard.
if it would be a little bit too hard, but then
I knew it was hard to begin with. Period.
Yeah, it's hard already. Like
Mhm.
it just makes it more harder to do if you do it that way.
But
But
then that
yes.
means you can just be playing safe most of the time, anyways.
Bounty hunters
Yeah.
don't want to
But
play
you're always-
safe.
Mhm.
They wanna
But you're
get
already
out
paying
there.
a high cost for the bounty hunters, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ruling on that is that no, they can only score the 1 victory point. They don't get to stack.
It's kind of just a toggle on and off. Did you do it? Did you not do it?
And then a new one because we don't
It'd
ever
be cool
hear.
if they could collect both.
I feel like they should be able to. I think that would be fun. But anyways, what's the new one, JR?
So the new one is about a unit that we never play anymore. My question is in regards to Droideca silhouette in wheel mode. The CBR states a player may replace their Droideca miniature with a ball form miniature or simply mark the one with the wheel mode token. If I choose to use my bomb form miniature, would that reduce the size of the silhouette for wheel mode?
No,
Yes. It's smaller.
but the silhouette's the same size for the base.
The silhouette, the base size is, but it goes up to the top of your hole, and the top of your hole is shorter.
What do you think, Edward?
I think I would probably still base it off the base mini. So the non-wheel mode, but to the same coin, you can start in wheel mode anyways. But
No, you have
I'm
to go into
torn.
wheel mode. You
Yeah,
can't start in wheel
if,
mode.
if you're gonna use the wheel mode miniature, you have to be in wheel mode. You can't
Mm.
unless you like
I'm
clarify to your
yeah.
opponent, like I'm using this as just a Droideca. Because that's what I do. I
Yeah.
have a
I'd-
standing in the ball.
I'd be torn. Mainly, I probably wouldn't do it mainly because like I don't want to hassle with 2 separate minis that I got to deal with. Here's a wheel mode, and then here's this non-standard wheel mode. I'd rather just use the one thing.
Yeah, I always use the token.
But I'd go ahead and say it would be adjusted because of the height of the mini.
Yeah, I always use just the token too, but the answer is yes. If you use the ball mode for wheel mode, then the silhouette shrinks down to the ball.
That's so cheesy because then I'm just gonna take wheel mode decas
Yeah.
and not.
I'm not using the
And
token
the
no more.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's
that
so
much smaller though.
stupid.
Like how much
It's-
smaller is that really?
It
But
can
still,
hide
it
behind a
doesn't
barricade.
matter.
It does hide behind a barricade.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, so
It's so
It does matter.
stupid.
yeah, you cannot see it.
Okay,
no
I gotta dust off my ball mode and just use that mini from. That's so stupid.
Hey,
Model it on its side, tilting
Droideca's
over
good
at a 45
Mine aren't
degree
even
angle.
painted.
Daniel's, I'm gonna start painting them tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. They're right there, and they're all just like primed. And I was like, I'm not gonna paint these. I have real models to paint.
All right, boys.
I'm still not
well,
gonna paint them. When am I gonna run Droidecas?
Dude,
when they
you guys
when they
are
get surge to
haters.
hit, when they get surge to hit, that's when they'll be good.
No.
Look
they're
at the
good, man.
airspeeder. All it took was surge to crit, and they got good.
Give
That's all
them
it
surge to
took.
crit,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, seriously.
This
but,
new world of suppression suppressive is enough. Like
no,
No.
if
your
they
two
become
reds.
if they become good, then the best suppressive list would be CIS. But for now, it's Empire.
The problem with
are
them is that
good.
they need to be built around,
Mhm.
and they're not good enough to be built around. I think that's
You know
almost the
what?
same problem as
No.
Death
Once we're
Troopers.
done with this,
Yeah.
I'm putting it right now. I'm putting it out there. The next Legion event we do, I'm taking triple Droidecas, and I'm gonna prove you guys wrong.
I mean,
Oh,
I've taken double Droidecas and I've done fine.
No, I'm gonna
but-
win. I'm gonna win.
All right. All
Hey,
right.
Hey,
what happened?
dude,
I
I'm
smashed
gonna
triple.
honor next event.
I smashed triple freaking Dark Troopers with triple Decas. Suck
Okay.
it.
When we run that tournament, you got to run 3 Droidecas.
I got it. I already have
Okay.
a list. I have a
All
list.
right.
It's gonna be skirmish.
No.
It's like, why is
All right,
Jose
no.
trying to run an illegal list? It's like,
Well, boys,
Come on,
thank
Battle Force. I need 6 Droidecas.
thank you guys for joining us. Edward, thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.